So these are things I've figured out about myself. You'll hear my bird in the background. And having just come out of something, there's so many things when you do come from a traumatic childhood that you need to heal. And you think, oh, I healed this, check mark. And then lo and behold, there's something else you need to heal, and something else, and something else. But as I figure it out, I figure I'll use the channel to hopefully help someone else. So there's a word that's come up a lot over the last year. A few new friends, girlfriends have shared this word with me, and I feel like it's showing up in my conversation a lot more. And the word is capacity. Capacity. I have a friend who's dealing with a contractor, and she keeps saying he doesn't have the capacity to understand. She's not mad at him because he doesn't have the capacity. And then in the dating scenario, that word comes up, capacity. So I'll put the name, if I can figure out how, in the video, but there's a guy who speaks from the Kabbalion, I think it is. And yesterday I heard him use the word capacity in a video. And he was saying that water, as beautiful as it is chaos when the capacity isn't there. So if you pour water into a glass, then it can be a beautiful thing, a cool glass of water. But if you keep pouring past the glass's capacity and the water starts to overflow, it's a mess. When an ocean has more water in it at a given time than the ocean can comfortably hold, I don't know how that works, then you get things, I guess, like tsunamis or um, um, uh, what do you call those waves that come up on the shore and they're just too strong or whatever. So I'm not going to claim to be an expert in these things. So I'm going to say some things that might sound a little silly. But water outside of the capacity of the vessel creates chaos. And it's the same thing with love. So I'm going to go through the development of that thought, and let's see if you can follow, because it helped me. I was just in thought this morning, and I was just thinking about some things. So as a baby, you're born, and you have endless capacity to receive love. You expect to receive love. So you come to the earth with a giant cup ready to be filled, and you think that if you're hungry, if you're lonely, if you're sleepy, if you have joy to share, that someone's going to come in and participate in these things in a way that fill your cup up. They're going to fill your needs, and they're going to love you. And you expect to be loved. So it does not bother you to scream out, hey, come hold me, because you assume they want to hold you. You assume they want to feed you. You assume they want to put you down for a comfortable nap. You assume that every cute thing you do is going to be met with joy and laughter by your loving parents, and your cup is waiting for all of that love. And what happens is when you don't get that, it's painful. It's painful to cry and cry and cry, and nobody responds to that. It is painful to say, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, and keep that openness that need is going to be filled. So what you do little by little is you stop crying. You stop waiting. You stop allowing yourself to have needs this big. You say, you know what? When I'm on my bike outside and I'm doing cool tricks and I say, Mom, come look. And she goes, leave me alone. You learn to stop saying, come look at me, right? Stop, because she's not coming. And if you're hungry, as much as it may pain you in your belly, you just learn, I'm going to get fed when I get fed. There's no need to cry, because the crying is just adding to my pain. And so what happens is little by little, that cup gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you come to the earth with an endless capacity to receive from others. And then they train it out of you. They train it out of you. And it hurts because as a child, you're still very aware. And so you may have bad behavior because you are still aware of all of the needs, right? You wanted the hugs. You wanted the adoration. You want it. And that can create some crazy behaviors. Maybe you're that kid in school that's always fighting, right? You're the child in school that doesn't pay attention. You get in trouble a lot because the one thing, see, now my bird knows that it has the capacity to be loved. The bird, I can't take it away. She's like, of course she'll respond when I do this. So hold on a second while I go fill her cup. I'll be right back. Hello, birdie. I'm recording a video, but I know you have a need that you need to be fulfilled right now. You good? Yes. Good morning, birdie. Good morning, birdie. Good morning. You want to come over here and sit on the desk while I do the video? You're free to come over here. So you shrink this cup. And you have to shrink it because as long as it's big, it's going to create problems. It's going to be painful that your needs aren't being filled. And this need is going to come out in other ways. So if nobody will watch you ride your bike, well, maybe they'll pay attention while you fight. If nobody will come and talk to you just in general, then maybe they'll come talk to you when the principal has you in their office, right? So now you're in the principal's office. Mom has to come up, has to pay attention. So it can come out in bad ways. And for some people, that never stops. That just becomes their life. This is how life goes from there on out. But most people say, I need money. I need a home. I want a family, right? And these things are not serving me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that I am loved. I'm loved by God. God loves me, right? We dip into spirituality. God loves me. I'm going to accept that I'm loved by myself, that I can love myself. I can fill my own cup up, right? And we kind of fix ourselves into, I don't need anybody to give me anything. I am okay. And we're doing it because you got to function. You have to go to work. You got to go out in the world. You got to make things happen. And you can't do that from this weird, broken place. So you just kind of fill your own cup up. And spiritually, you accept that God is loving you. And that's a good replacement for parental love or family love or whatever. And you do the thing. You get up and you get the job. That's the briefcase. And you get the house. And you get the car. And you're a functioning adult. And no one is loving you. There's no love coming at you from any human. But God loves you, right? You love yourself. You're okay. You're okay. And you kind of get that thinking that I'm good because you have put all of the Band-Aids on all of the broken places. And you are all patched up and you're functioning. And then one day you decide that you would like to relate. You'd like a relationship. And maybe during this time, maybe during all of this time, you've had relationships. And you're not quite sure why they don't work out, But whatever. Now you want a real relationship. And so you try it. And you come at that relationship making an offer. You say, I'm loved by God. I love myself. I'm healed, right? Because you got all these band-aids all over you. I'm healed. I'm good. I don't need anything. I just want someone to love. I want to fill their cup. I'm not a taker. Life has trained me not to be a taker. I am not a taker. I'm a giver. And that's how you define yourself from there on out. I'm a giver. And so without knowing it, you actually look for a taker because you're a giver. Because you've never learned to receive love. You've shrank your cup down to nothing. And now you define yourself as a giver. You say, that's my role in the world. I'm not here to take. I'm here to give. And so you may not do it consciously, but you choose a taker. You choose a taker because that's your role in the relationship, is to give. And they again, may not be conscious, say, I'll take that deal. You mean you don't need much from me and I can get everything I need from you? That sounds great. And so you get into this relationship and you are defining love as, he, she, whatever situation you're in. I give love, he takes love. And then the relationship blooms and grows, and it works for a while. It works for a while because you do enjoy giving someone what you never had. You know what it's like to have that need not be met. And so when you see the need in a taker, you say, oh my God, I know that feeling. And I know exactly what I wanted. I can't wait to give it to them. And so you just shower down rain of love, love, love. What do they need? Well, how can you help them? You just can't wait to give, 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 because it, on some level, is like a soothing balm to the pain you felt as a child. Loving them. The issue is, and it does have kind of a healing effect, because you're able to give somebody something you always needed. But as the relationship continues to go forward and time moves on, what happens is that little seed of need, that little seed that God sent you here with, this capacity to receive unlimited love, it never died. It just shrank. The problem is it didn't shrink permanently. So as you stay in this relationship, it starts to wake up. And it starts to say things like, maybe I would like a birthday gift, even though I said I don't need those kind of things. Maybe I'd like somebody to listen to me, because your relationship has been defined by, here's somebody who tells stories, maybe for an hour. You're not even interested. But initially, your love, your version of love is, I'm a giver. I will sit here and listen to this story because it makes him feel good. I don't want to hear the story, but it makes him feel good. I will go to that place because it makes him feel good. I'll eat that food because it makes him feel good. And you'll do that for quite a while because it makes him feel good. And you don't mind doing it. You don't mind doing it. But as that little capacity wakes up and starts to grow again, as you love somebody and you see the joy you bring them, you say, maybe I'd like some joy after all. Maybe I'd like somebody to do some of these things for me. And now you go to this person who you made a contract with to be the giver. And you say, I was thinking, I think I'd like some of the things I give you. I've decided that would be nice if some of that came to me. And that becomes chaos. It is the ocean trying to fit in a cup. Chaos. It is the water spigot. Is that a water spigot? That never turns off. And the water overflows. Chaos onto the floor, into the basement. Because that was not the contract. The contract was, I will give and you will take. That was the contract. And they're not a bad person because you're broken one way, they're probably broken the other way, where all they know how to do is take. They don't have the capacity to give. And that's why they took your contract to begin with. And now you're angry. You're angry because you want them to give you what you now need, what you came into the relationship saying, I don't need. I'm loved by God. I love myself. I don't need anything from you. I'm just here to pour into you. And that's why you have to heal completely. And when they say heal, what I take away from that is you're not ready for a relationship until you understand a relationship is give and take. And if you are on either side saying, I'm only a giver or I'm only a taker, you're not healed. You're not ready. If you are in a relationship saying, I don't need anything, that's not good. That's not a super strength. That's not a superpower. That is a problem. That is still a broken child who has diminished their needs to nothing, but it's not real because God put that in you and it's going to grow back like a fingernail. It's coming back. It's there. It was supposed to be an unlimited capacity. And it's interesting because when you've been brought up this way and you shrank your need down to nothing, if you had somebody and you woke up every morning, they said, I just wanted to give you a little gift. Here you go. And there's a little gift wrap gift. Every morning you wake up. Every time you make love, they want to make sure you're okay. Were you satisfied? You'll be disgusted by that scenario. Like, come on with all the giving. It will make you unhappy because you don't have the capacity for it. You don't have the capacity for it. So with these relationships, what happens is you're not asking for an everyday gift. You're not asking for sensitive, you-focused love-making. You're usually like asking, could you get me a cup of coffee in the morning? Ah, chaos. You want coffee? Could you remember my birthday? Ah, you want me to remember your birthday? Right? Because your cup is not back here yet. You're like still got a really small cup. It's just kind of waking up and it creates chaos. So you can't enter into a relationship until you build some capacity to take, until you really spend some time with yourself and really say, okay, I will not die because I have this new survival skin. I will not die without love and affection. I've learned that. I've trained myself to be okay and to be a functioning adult, going to work, making money, buying things, right? All that good stuff. Consumerism is how we define a functioning adult, I guess. I've trained myself to be okay with very little. But what would I want if I could have it? What would I want? And that's a painful thought when you have put yourself into giver mode, because the answer is nothing. And that's crazy. You really think, I don't need birthdays. I don't need an engagement ring. I don't need a wedding. I don't need a title. I don't need this. I don't need that. But it's not true. It's not true. It's just this wounded child still surviving and saying, I don't need anything, but you do. And so that's the work before you find someone to love you, is somehow finding, and I'm not a therapist, so you got to find a therapist out here on YouTube or somebody that knows better than I do, because I'm in the work with you. Some way to define what you need, the need, what you want. And these are words that they killed when you were a baby. They said, you can pack that stuff up. You ain't getting it here. So you have to unpack it again. That you have needs and you have wants. And it is your human right to have those met. And you have to do the work to identify that. And to walk around with an empty cup, understanding that you have needs and wants. And as much as there is a God who does love you, as much as there is self-love, and I avail myself of both, and I have a very close relationship with the Creator, there are some needs and some wants that can only be met in human relationships. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with needing something or wanting something. So you have to build that list and open up that capacity again before you go in. And it's not just your capacity, but then you have to be very aware of the person you're negotiating with for love. Because that's what dating and all of this stuff is two people trying to figure out, what contract is going to work between them. And you have to be able to identify if this person does not have the capacity to meet your needs and your wants. And you have to be mature enough not to be the baby saying, well, that's okay, I don't have any needs anymore. I'll stop crying. Just loving you will be enough for me. It will not be. It's going to open up, and then it's going to be the chaos. So that's. I just wanted to share that. I'm sure I'll grow in my own understanding of these things, and my videos will get better. Right now, I'm just a human walking this road of life, figuring some stuff out myself, and just want to share it. Because even if it helps one person, then I left my gift on the road of life for the walkers behind me, and maybe it makes your walk just a little bit easier. So, God bless you. I pray that we all get healed to a point that we can experience true joy and happiness on the road of life. And then we can share that joy and happiness, because that's the point of it. When we're not full, we can't give. It's hard to give from an empty place. And so the more we are loved and the more we are healed, the better for everybody. So God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.